How's it going, everybody? My name is Grim Reaper, and with me, as always,
Cynicalsquid.
and this is last week of Epoch. Boy, do we have a show for you guys tonight. If you look down below me, you can see on the screen we've got one of the community testers, Quietforme. Quiet, how you doing, brother?
I am doing great. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Now, if you guys never met Quiet before, I suggest going and checking out Quietforme. He does stream a little bit later. This man is absolutely awesome to watch. And if you have any questions about the video game, this guy will be brutally honest with you and answer those questions straight to you, regardless if you like the answer or not. At least he's honest and factual to what he gives you for his response back. So, first question I want to get into, Quiet, and this is a big one for me because I know your background. How many different games have you been like a community tester or somebody that's been like helping with devs with testing of games?
So I've so just from alpha to betas alone, I have over 250 games done. But in terms of like actual direct dev contact, I have over a dozen games where I've actually interacted with developer and actually given advice and help. But in terms of actually being like a part of the team, I actually only did it for one company. And that was for a game called Chrono Tales, which was an MMO back in the day before the whole company went under. I was a senior game helper for them.
Oh wow. What are some of the other titles that you've gotten to work on? Just expand on that a little bit for us.
Uh, Really, like at the end of the day, like it's been common practice for the past 10, 15 years in gaming where you pay to get in and you get the betas and you get to talk to the stuff. But for like more or less like titles, it's like just content creation. Like you're a content creator, but you're a part of their program, so it's kind of like a partnered aspect content creator that does basic Q&A unpaid. So
Well, what would those companies be if you can name some of those for us?
uh, I've done it for Treon Worlds is probably one of the biggest companies I've done it for.
Okay.
I've done Atlas Reactor. I was actually at under my old name. I was actually one of the biggest content creators for them at the time, and I was ranked one worldwide in that game. I also
Oh,
did it
holy
for
crap.
another game called Devilian. I also
Ooh.
did it for Smite for high res. I did both. I helped them on Smite, and I also helped them with fuck, forget the name. Paladins, I think their shooter's called now. I was
Yeah.
part of the alpha and testing and all of that, and I actually had under my old name again. I had personal connections with High Res Erez, who was the owner of the company. I
Oh,
met him
wow.
at the Smite launch tournament down in Atlanta, Georgia, and we just kind of hit it off.
Nice, man. That is crazy extensive. So, so far being in this last Epoch community, I've ran into you several times. I'm up late because I have PTSD. So sometimes I come in and hang out with you. What has been your most favorite thing about being part of this last Epoch community so far?
I guess I like playing with my wood. Spriggan Farm has really kept me going for the past couple of years.
I did not expect that answer, but touche, good sir. Well played. Cynical. You got a question you'd like to ask, Quiet?
So, with you being a community tester and having such an extensive history, like with testing stuff, how do you feel like that helps you when it comes to interacting with the dev team and stuff with 11th Hour when you are doing your CT?
Well, at the same time, right? Like people, we can run like anyone can come into a game, run the numbers if given the formula. Like anyone can understand mechanics if given the terminology of definition, right? But not everyone will understand like some of the infrastructure or what it actually takes on the coding side of things, and the work it actually puts in to actually develop it to allow it to stand the test of time or work with variables and modular concepts that could actually be produced simply for easy adjustments, but complex enough to allow the player engagement. So it allows me to, when I do give my feedback, instead of just thinking about it on like just a player side, like I also try to give feedback on how it could maybe be easier on the dev side if they made a certain change. So when I think about the feedback when I do give stuff, like hypothetically when talking about the druid rework, I've been very passionate about it for the past fucking year because it's already undergone like one rework. A lot of people don't realize this is the actual second tree we've gotten with druid, and the second tree was actually objectively worse than the first tree that we had available until they added the hide skin node to allow the defense scaling to go higher than what it was. But I was able, like, while other people were just like, this is shit, I have no synergy, I was like, this does not match your idea concept of the themes within the systems that you built within the game. And so that's why I was heavily advocating, like, we need a true design rework where it actually focuses on the identity druid, where it is nature magic with transformation focus to allow for alternative options of going between the forms or permanent forms. So I'm allowed to look on things on more of a bigger picture, while some other people, because I'm much of a big picture kind of guy, are able to look at more of the details and fundamentals. And that's why I feel like I'm very good on the baseline of things, but in terms of the complexity and advancement, I sometimes miss the ball on that.
Okay.
All right.
So, being a content creator as well yourself, have you had any plans to put out anything as far as build guides recently or anything like that? Or has it been just your focus right now to just stream and test things out and then get feedback for the time being?
For me, it's always just been Twitch focus. The reason why I haven't done build guides is because I understand the purpose of a beta, understand how long it's going to take for a game to actually come to fruition for a good 1.0 launch. And the problems with, like, no offense to all the build guides out there and content creators, in fact, the people who do it I actually respect highly, because you'll one patch you'll make a build guide. It'll be fucking killer that patch. Next patch, it's non-existent because the skill is no longer in the game. So it's just you're going to be constantly falling in and out of favor, and it's just too much time investment for little reward. Yeah, you get the early game build up and recognition, you get to be known as the build guy, but at the end of the day, if you're not ahead of the curve, you're behind.
Okay. Cynical, you got a question you'd like to ask now?
So you mentioned being very passionate about Druid, and of course, loving Sprigging Form and playing with your wood and all that. Is Druid your favorite mastery class, or is there another class you also find?
So in terms of fantasy, Void Knight is my favorite.
Ooh.
But in terms of overall gameplay and something I always have that staple I go to, it's always been Druid. Diablo 2, I did Druid. Every other game that I had a Druid transformation option, I stick to, because that's kind of my jam. Because I do play games to get out of reality, and transformations is like the perfect way to do it. Because you're turning into this big mystical beast with fucking overpowered abilities and shit, and it really helps you draw away from the problems of your day to day life. So that's why I love Druid in terms of gameplay perspective and the themage. But like, in terms of last Epoch, I think Void Knight is probably the most original idea I've seen to date in the past 15 years.
Nice.
I also love the Void Knight class, so it makes me very happy to hear you say that, because that was what drew me to the class though when I first started playing the game, because I was like, wait a minute, this actually sounds like a creative class. This sound like we played Diablo 2 or insert Titan Quest, whatever your ARPG of this is. This doesn't sound like a copy paste class from one of those games that we tweaked a little bit. This sounds like they put some thought into it and created like a new, like, unique.
For sure. And like what people actually don't really know about me and realize is Void Knight was the first character I ever made in this game. I actually mained it for about 3 to 6 months before I actually moved over to Spriggan. I only moved over to Spriggan because Werebear was so predominant at the time that Spriggan was getting overshadowed and tested. Everyone says no one can make it work. It was shit. Because at the time, there was no permanent form option for Spriggan. The only way you could actually get a sustained form was max mana building and try to get mana efficiency down as low as possible, and just kill the waves, kill the map before you ran out of mana. And that's actually what led to my first unique design, this Legacy of the Quiet Forest, which actually allowed for the first time in the game at that time for Spriggan to have a permanent form option, even though it was limited within the item design.
Nice. And speaking of item design, don't you have a nice, awesome reveal coming out tomorrow morning?
I do, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on twitch.tv/quietforme. I am revealing my second unique into the game. And since you guys are so nice, I'll give a little teaser as to it. It's a
Oh.
level 91 pair of gloves. It is an
Ooh,
end game empowerment only item.
oh man,
Oh.
oh, I am excited
Can
now.
you? Oh, I gotta ask this. Okay, premium content right here. What boss is it going to drop from? Can we get that info now,
Uh,
or is that going to be tomorrow at the reveal? Do we have to tune in
I
tomorrow
want
to
to hold.
find out?
I want you guys to tune in for tomorrow. But I will say this: it has multiple sources of which you can get it from.
Ooh,
Dude,
Okay.
that sounds so sweet. I'm
Okay.
stoked now. I can't wait to see this. I'm staying up all night tonight. I'm going to drink as much coffee as I can just to see this reveal tomorrow. I am not going to bed now. Or I might have to go to sleep right after the podcast just to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. So it's going to be a pair of gloves. It's going to be level 91, which means people are actually going to have to put in some work to be able to use this item in the first place. So that is going to be
Correct.
amazing.
Like I
And
said, my goal with this item was to be Chase. Think Headhunter.
Okay.
ooh, wait a minute. Is this thing going to still Is this going to still rare mobs as modifiers to give it to you?
No, I
Oh,
can
okay.
guarantee you, no.
Okay.
But think of the equal level of Chase for a Headhunter PoE. That's what my goal was with this.
Dude, that sounds absolutely amazing.
Sounds really
Oh,
sick, actually. That should be really cool. I cannot wait to see what it is now. I'm gonna have to set the alarm. I'm gonna have to set the alarm early so I can make sure I'm up.
dude, he's making my ADHD go off. I'm bouncing around over here, like excited for it. I'm like,
And remember this. This is my second unique, and I learned a lot from my first one. So I had lots of areas in which to improve and expand my own technical mind and work with the devs to actually push the boundaries with them. So
I'm excited, man. Like,
That
I am
just
super excited.
sounds so awesome when like you hear a phrase from someone say like the devs let me push the envelope. Like that's awesome. Like it's good to hear like the devs are like encouraging you trying to do stuff and push the envelope of like what is workable within the game.
I'm truly like excited, man. I'm over here bouncing. I'm just like, now we need the patch to come out. I need the item now. I need to see this. I want this item in my life. I need it in my life. That's like one of those things whenever you see like a game, they come out with like a new cosmetic and you have to have it right then and there. I'm like ready to bust out my credit card right now and just buy the damn thing. But I know we're not going to be able to buy this item, but I'm like that hyped for it right now thinking about it.
Heck
So
yeah.
this is going to be great. Now, are you going to be showing the whole like item on your stream tomorrow? Like, are we going to see the whole entire thing?
I get to show everything. The big art, the item itself,
Oh,
everything to do with this item I am bringing to the table tomorrow.
dude, I feel like a kid at fucking
Yes.
Christmas waiting to unwrap that fucking Christmas present right up underneath the tree. Like, you know it's yours. It's that big ass one underneath the tree, and you're just ready to tear into that paper. But it's not Christmas morning yet. It's Christmas Eve. So you got to go to bed and you got to freaking wait. Oh, this is so exciting.
This is gonna be so
Ah,
cool.
this is going to be dope as fuck. I am happy for this. Excuse my language. But
No,
you'll
you're
be good.
fine.
I
I've been
mean,
trying not to
I'm
curse this
hyped.
whole time. I've been trying to keep it PG for you boys.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
just
sometimes
hyped
it'd be
now.
like
I'm
that.
super excited for it. So for you guys that don't know, Quiet for Me is in Central Standard Time. So it's going to be at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time for the reveal. So if you go to sleep now after this podcast is over, you can wake up in time just to catch this stream for the reveal.
It will be worth it.
So, oh yes, I am super hyped about this now. I want to see the artwork for it. Now, can you give us a little hint about the artwork?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
like it.
So we don't get any hints about the artwork, but at least we get to hear Headhunter for chase item for the game. So that is super hyped. Oh, I'm super excited about this. I want to ask more questions, but I know you can't give away too much now. This sucks. Thank you so
That-
much for sharing
That's
that
the,
with us.
no
though.
problem. That is the point of the carrot on the stick.
Oh, it is
It's true.
definitely a carrot on a stick.
Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead, Cynical.
All right. So you have this extensive background with like testing games and stuff. What was it that drew you to last Epoch and kind of, I guess we'll say, like influenced you to get involved with the
Well, believe it or not, I used to be a fucking big PoE nerd.
Weren't
I
we
played
all at
PoE
one point?
Yeah, and what I found out about this game was actually through a Q&A through Zizan stream where I actually managed to somehow in his chat get about 5 questions through to the devs, and they answered everything open and honestly about what they wanted to do and how they want to approach the game. And I was like, well, you know, I'll throw a little money at this. I'll see what it's all about. And at the time, like, it was very bare bones. Like, you only really had the Ruined Era. Then you had this little mini-list system. Like, where the NPC is to go across the bridge to the monolith, next to it, you see this rumbled-ass standing stone. That's what used to be the original monolith system, was just that stone. You'd go in, you'd pick two things, and then you'd run a map. And it was completely random, and that's all you had. And then you had Arena, and it only had, at the time, like 2 to 3 maps. So, like, it was very bare bones on both campaign content and game content. So you would just run through, you'd be 20, you'd enter this mini list, you'd push it through best you could, then you go into Arena to test your build. And that was it for the longest time. And that simplicity drew me in. The pacing of the game drew me in. It was like I never liked Diablo because, like, the whole big number system. It just, I never really felt like I was progressing. And PoE, it just, there's only so much you can live your one-shot power fantasy dream before everything feels the same. And so this was like a nice middle ground between the two. And that's actually what really hooked me and actually ruined PoE for me.
Oh wow! For me, it was the sort stash tab button. That's what ruined it for me with PoE. Because hold on, you guys are laughing, but hear me out on this. Okay, PoE has been out forever. I've put a ton of hours in it. Why couldn't they add just one little sort button in the damn stash tab, just to at least do like how Last Epoch's doing? It just pulls everything down for you. You know, that was one of the things that I liked about Last Epoch versus PoE. The other thing is too is Last Epoch kind of eases you into it. It just doesn't like straight, give you a real hard one in the wrong spot like PoE does for a new player. Like whenever I first started off in PoE, the first time I got through the halfway of the campaign, and you first killed Kitava, you get to the second part, and then all of a sudden everything just starts like, "Hey, how's it going?" You're dead, because it just one taps you, and you're sitting there and you're like, what happened? I was doing fine before Kitava. What's going on? Last Epoch, it gradually pushes in. It feels like the content scales with you, and you can actually scale your equipment to match the content as you go through. That was the other thing.
So let me give you a hot take right here. It's not
Okay.
so much that PoE it's out of nowhere random one shot. The one shot to a degree is telegraphed in most cases. The problem is builds over there get so powerful so quick on so little investment that you're blowing up screens and creating your own visual clutter that actually ruins the pacing of the game, so you actually don't have time to react because you can't really see what you're reacting to. And with LE having a much slower gameplay and much more limited aspects within the skill design, that you actually can see in most cases what's happening and actually be able to react to it as it's happening versus while trying to predict 2 seconds ahead because you're blowing up the screen not knowing what's to come.
As someone who played
Fair
Miner almost exclusively in PoE for a while, I definitely identify with the cluttered. And there's no way you can see what's about to hit you because all you see is your own projectile.
Right.
So Quiet, what was the first item again? Yeah, I think you mentioned it that you had created in the game.
Legacy of the Quiet Forest. It's the
Okay.
Spriggan unique belt.
Very well. And you are the Spriggan Master, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I believe there are better Spriggan players out there than me, but I just have the most time on it, and that's why people call me the Spriggan Master. But believe it or not, Tunk was actually one of the original, if not the original Spriggan main, and then Cujo, who's recently came into the community a little after us, actually got pretty hard in the Spriggan, and I actually vouch for Cujo's Spriggan builds. I think there's some of the best out there for Spriggan to get people into the actual skill. So I do believe there are other people out there who represent the ideology of build design for it better than myself and can play it better than myself. It's just I do have the most time in being a content creator. You kind of get to tie your face to something before anyone else in that regard. So I do feel like I do overshadow some of the other Spriggan mains out there a little too much. So that's why I want to give them a shout out. But yeah, I am considered the Spriggan master.
That is awesome. That is very nice of you to mention other people out there. So, are those other people that you mentioned? I know Tunk. I haven't seen Tunk stream. Does Cujo stream at all?
I don't know if I know Tunk definitely does it because he's too busy doing all the stuff for the website and other stuff and data mining. And Cujo, I don't think I've ever seen him stream, but I definitely see him do really good written guides on the forums for stuff. He's very
Okay.
knowledgeable.
Okay. So is that somebody that you would actually recommend somebody go and check out their build guide? Because if that's the case, what we can do then is we can also add for the description for the YouTube whenever we upload this, we can put those people in the description as well if that's something you feel would be appropriate to give
Oh,
them a little shout out.
I definitely feel we should definitely give Tunk and Dammit a shout out for all the stuff they do with their websites. And believe it or not, without their tools, I wouldn't actually have half the mechanical knowledge and foresight to allow myself to get ahead in the design of the game to allow to teach others. So I definitely want to give a shout out. And as for Kuja, I know he hasn't done a build guide for Spriggan in a while, but I know most of them still hold up today. So I definitely think he should get a little bit of love too.
Okay, we can
Absolutely.
definitely do that for him. That is not a problem. So, where do you see the future of Last Epoch going so far right now?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Now, you see future as in like popularity within the genre, or as in the game's first impression at launch?
I mean, as in like the game development, where do you see it heading towards right now with the way they're doing things? They've already mentioned with their timeline that they're going to have dungeons coming into the game. They're going to have a new chapter coming out soon. We're going to be getting the Warlock and Falconer class as well as the Rune Master class eventually. Where is it that you see the game taking off to at those points? The things that they have actually put out publicly, how do you feel about them now?
I mean, the game is constantly improving, evolving. Like, no one would say that's a bad thing at the end of the day, but I also do like with some of where the game is going, with some of the reworks and stuff that they have shown. I definitely feel like we're on that teeter point where we could potentially break into PoE territory, but and they are aware of that. I know the fact that they are, but they're trying to like ride that line instead of cross it. And so I definitely feel like we're probably going to get more powerful. We're going to get more speed up, but they're going to try to keep it within confines of the limitations that they allow within the current system. So that way they can keep balance in a relative, especially because we don't even know what it's going to be like in a multiplayer fashion. And that's going to be excessive power gains because you're multiplying everything by potentially up to 4, depending on the party, right? So it's definitely like it could go any direction right now, but I definitely hope they try to keep it within the lines of limitation, just so that way there is that element of build up, there is that element they're able to keep the balance and keep templating and visual clutter down, so that way you can enjoy what you're seeing. But at the same time, I can see it get to the point where we're like riding that line to PoE territory too.
Okay. We actually had a statement put into the chat here from Amity13. He said, on that note, I'm hoping EHG implements something that makes enemy skills and player skills visually distinguished. I think monsters and players could still have visually stunning skills. The problem is always not being able to tell the player slash monster skill apart. And that's his thoughts on that. What do you think about that, Quiet for me?
Technically hard, because here's what we're coming down on at the end of the day. We have the 7 defined elements within the game. They have their 7 defined visuals and color coding standpoints. And the players works within these 7 defined elements of damage types. So, and the enemies also work within the 7 defined elements of damage types. So, in order to like really distinguish yourself from the enemies, it's kind of sounds bad to say, but I think it is the only like good answer I can think of currently is the MTX system, allowing yourself to customize how the skill looks and performs, so that way you can identify it between the genericism of the enemy types of skills. But at the same time, the game is still very much in an early state, and they have improved drastically over time, and I expect them to start having more interesting stuff come in the future that will be more unique to enemies.
Nice. What do you think, Cynical?
Um, I mean, as far as like differentiating between like enemy and player effects and stuff, I think it's really hard to do this. Where if you look at it from like a MOBA like League of Legends, there's like a team designation, right? So like effects
Yeah.
can be either blue or red, whatever. In ARPG, it doesn't really work that way. There's no like team element without making it look kind of jarring, I guess. Like, yeah, you could make enemy effects a certain color, player effects color, but when you do that, you're also taking away a lot of the individuality. Like Quiet was saying, there's 7 defined elements. Those elements have a color code associated with them. If you want to simplify it and make it easier to see enemy and player skills be differentiated, you're going to lose some of those 7 colors unless you go to an even more advanced system and have like 14 colors, and then that becomes potentially visually cluttering as well, though, because then you have to remember that like what the enemy poison looks like versus player poison.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a very good point about having to change up the colors even further to define it. And going back to what you said, Quiet, with the MTX, Ebony in chat also enjoyed your response about that as well. And I agree. The MTXs are probably going to be the best way to change the visual graphics of the skill to be able to make it to where it's your own, so you get used to the way it looks. I mean, we're used to doing that in PoE. Me and you are both PoE players, so we've both seen how some of the MTXs change some of the skills and make the effects look different and make them look awesome. So
Yep, but at
definitely
the
good
same
point.
time, on the flip side of the MTX, though, because they're more intricate designs and more unique designs, they can also overshadow enemy designs within visual clutter, and so you still don't see what enemies bringing out versus what you bring out. So I definitely feel EHG has a challenge on that front to ride that fine line of unique without being overpowering, but we'll have to wait and see.
Most definitely. So, how do you feel with the current present state of the game? How it feels right now? Because I know you've been here for a while, and whenever I first played the game and picked it up, things were a lot differently. You know, your stats gave resistances versus the way they got it now, where you actually have resistance on gears and stuff. But I took a break, so I missed out on a lot of stuff in between there. So you've seen all of the different transformations, the stages this game's gone throughout. How do you feel it's progressed from the beginning stage of your time with this to where it's at now, between like starting off being clunky to, is it a lot smoother now? Do you feel like it's going in the right direction, or do you feel like there are still major things that need to be done to make it even smoother to get it to that point where they do cross the line for PoE?
Oof. Well, I feel like you can make a game more smooth without having to cross the line to PoE. That's more on the side of the technical aspects of the optimization, allowing for technologies older and newer to be able to actually keep up with what is happening on the screen. However, but like definitely from what it used to be, it's definitely a vast improvement, especially like as I've seen it go from a flat based system where you get 100 fire resistance, and that 100 fire resistance wouldn't even be like 0.5% resistance. You would actually have to build up to about 3 to 5k to even get like 80 to 90% DR to this over encompassing traditionalized resistance system where you get up to 75%, but that 75% is counteracted by monster area level per enemy pen. So up to level 75, they have 75 penetration, which effectively means you have no resistance. They're just doing regular damage at that point, which allows for an interesting balance aspect for the future development, but at the same time, it is ultimately at the end of the day gear tag, but they do allow ways to offset it and not have to put it onto your gear via blessings, via having it within the character. So I definitely feel like it's a much better system now. It's much simpler, easier for the average person to get into, and still providing a lot of depth for some of the advanced players, because you can look to alternative defenses and start figuring out how you want to layer and how you want to approach it, or if you just want to say fuck it, I want to go one shot everything and be damned if I get hit. So it's definitely in that regard way more interesting now in terms of gameplay design and character development, but it still has a long way to do on the technical side of improvement for optimization.
Nice. What are your thoughts on it, Cynical?
Um, so like I said, like I've said before in past, I did the game like a year or like a month, and other stuff kind of got in the way, so I had to put the game down. Came back to it about 3 months ago. It was like a night and day difference. I remember liking the game previously, but it felt really clunky at times. It felt like it honestly, it felt like you mentioned it earlier. It felt like this like weird middle ground between Diablo and PoE, but it wasn't necessarily a positive. I couldn't really like get a handle on like the tempo of the game. And then when I came back to it though, like now they've smoothed out a lot of that. I feel like the game has found its identity. It has found the tempo they want people to play at. They are teetering more towards that PoE speed. I do think Quiet is correct in that assessment, and I'm hoping that they do kind of rein it back a little bit. I don't really want the game to turn into like PoE light. I do want it to be that middle ground game between Diablo and PoE. So if you want a slightly faster paced version of Diablo, but maybe PoE's one shot mechanics and just clutter and stuff much for you, Last Epoch becomes that awesome, like perfect middle ground game where you can sit down, have.
Nice. So I got to ask you this, Quiet. How come I never ever see you register to play in any of the tournaments for Vision GL's tournaments?
I do them once in a while because I have to like take time out of my weekends explicitly just to do it. But for the week, for the most part, I do a Monday or Friday segment on my stream. That's my time. My wife's at work. I have nothing to do. I can just dedicate that to streaming, to LE, to whatever I need it to do. But the weekends is the only time I can actually get out of my own fucking house and like see the world because I can't drive. So my wife has to do all the errands in regards of going out and doing stuff. And I love my reptiles. I do my reptile tank cleanings on Saturdays. I cut my grass. I go out and get my order of rodents, bugs, things I need for my hobbies. So it's just I have a lot of time on my weekend where I'm just trying to like do my day-to-day life so that way I can spend my weeks just being a no life LE player. Not mentioned like recently too. Well, not recently, it's been a few months now, but every Sunday I play D&D with McMagic, Vision, Blizzard, and Rhymer. So it's just I just don't have the time.
Wait a
Ultimately, at the
minute.
end of
Who's
the
the
day,
GM? Who's the GM?
Rhymer.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh no, GM, Game Master. Sorry, I'm used to DM.
Yeah.
McMagic, he's a first-time DM for our campaign, but we have Rhymer
Okay.
as the dev on our D&D group.
Okay. All right. I had to ask that. And speaking of Vision's tournament, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Vision's Discord on here. And we're going to go over the tournament winners for last week. Let's see if they've got the updates. All right. So placing in at number one for last week's tournament is going to be Mal Washed Up at level 86 with wave 248. He was running Shurikens, Puncture, Smoke Bomb, Shift, and Flurry, which is cool. Lizard IRL took second at level 91, wave 243, so just 5 waves below. And Tunk, again, placed up in the top at level 91, wave 239. Do have to
Fun
give out.
fact
What's
about
up?
Tunk. Every Primalist tournament for the longest time, Tunk went undefeated on, and no one could take him down from the Primalist first place. I even actually competed head to head to Tunk, just tried to take him down, and I couldn't even get close enough to take him down. So Tunk is actually a resident sleeper arena pusher.
Oh, Jesus. Well, we also have an honorable mention in here. Coming in at number 4 was Perry the Pig at level 95. He had the highest level out of anybody up in the top 5, and he hit wave 221.
I
So,
expect Perry to be the highest level. He's a hardcore player, while everyone else is traditionally SSF softcore. So I expect him to actually not die, because I know for a fact Lizard died already once, and he had to push a second character up
oh
and actually
no,
even to get there.
Yeah.
He pulled an all-nighter on the last day to get to 91 to try to take first place.
dude, Lizard actually said he died more than that. He said he died like 4 or 5 times this tournament.
Oh, really? I
So,
only heard of the one.
yes.
So
Yeah, I think I could have sworn he said he died like 4 or 5 times because I was in his stream and then he said he did pull an all nighter to get leveled up, but I think he said he died like a couple of times, like during the leveling process, and I don't know if he like just took and renamed the character the same name and just started over or whatever he did to like kind of erase it, but I mean, hats off to him, man, to be able to have that much downtime to where he's re-leveling again and still place like that. That shows a lot of skill and dedication to be able to do that, man.
yeah, Lizard has insane mechanical gameplay talent, and it must be something from the Smite boys, because I used to be Esports Smite, and he used to be Esports Smite back in the day. So something about us Smite boys, we got some mechanical gameplay that the rest of the LE community needs to get better at.
It must be that whole different style of MOBA for it, with it being that face to face running around, kind of like a first person or a third person shooter type deal for a MOBA.
Yeah, yeah, going from that to having like all the information just on your screen without having to look at the mini map, it's like it's like opening your third eye.
I did not know you played Smite, Quiet. That's something new. How long did you play Smite for?
I went from the last couple of days of alpha, and I played it from 2013 all the way to season 3, and then season 0 launch, season 1 I was pushing top end amateur league. I was actually considered top 3 support within that
Oh,
league.
wow.
I was directly competing against people like Anatoly, Jeff Hinla, Zatman, all the big boys you see now. I actually played with Ally back in the day, and Wolfie 2332. So yeah, I was up there for a while.
Jesus, where was Lizard at on that? Because I didn't know Lizard played
He
Smite till today.
he was after me, believe it or not. He started like I believe it was season 3 or season 4 is when he was the big name in there. So
Yeah, he got raided by like 250 plus people today from Smite. The Smite community came over while he was streaming this morning. And I was like sitting there chilling. I was talking to him about the podcast. I was like, yo, Lizard, you got to come on the podcast. Cynical loves you. He needs to nerd out. I've already had Boardman on here. So I've got you on here this time. So this is like my for me having you on. You know, being able to get to have you on the podcast has been a pleasure for me. Period. So we've already got
I
Boardman
appreciate
for
it.
him, but next we
I,
got to get Lizard. So
yeah, for sure. Lizard will be a fun one. He has he's actually a pretty insane hardcore pusher when he has the time to do it instead of like pushing himself trying to get everything done within a day. So, but like yeah, Lizard is definitely pretty crazy. But I also do feel like I love you, Lizard, but I know Foe and Tunk and some other people are starting to knock you down into washed up territory. You got to look out.
well, Mal took number one, Mal washed up, which is still pretty funny that he used the name Mal washed up and placed first place.
Well, he was washed up for about 8 months in the tournament, so that was like the first time he came back and actually performed. I'm proud of him for once.
For once. So, are you going to play in this next tournament coming up the next time after this patch? Since your item's going to be in the game. No,
no tournaments. No tournaments for a while. I gotta do my house stuff first. I gotta make sure my fucking breaker panel doesn't blow and I can actually have sustained power because I get frequent power outages. You guys just don't see it a lot of time. So I gotta get my life in order before I can get my no life in order.
Well, of course nobody's gonna see it as soon as the power goes out. So does your stream.
Yeah, but most of the power outages happen when I don't stream. So.
Well, that's a good thing. So, out of all the tournaments that you've got to see for the players, who are the best players in your mind that are in the community overall? We all know that Lizard's one of the good ones. You've mentioned Tonk. You've also mentioned Mao. And who else was it you mentioned? You just mentioned somebody else. Foe, yeah. And Foe, I don't think Foe's participated in any of the tournaments at all recently at all, has he?
He's just been I know Foe really loves LE and he plays the game a lot, but he's also like everyone gets their burnout, right? So like Foe pushed tournaments for a very long time. Kept making Lizard have to push that a little bit more to get first. Right. So like Foe deserves a vacation.
Well, hopefully he comes back because I want to see what all the players can do because I know there's a lot of good players within the community, and I know there's a lot of players in the community that haven't been participating in the tournaments yet.
I believe it or not, I want to actually give a shout outs to a couple of new people because there's some people coming in that are newer on the game that are actually keeping up with the old boys like Emun, Perry, like they're really catching people off guard. So shout outs to those guys.
Yeah, those Moon did do really, really good. I think wasn't a Moon one of the top finishers in the last week's tournament too?
I believe he was.
I think they were. And I know also you got Pinching Loaf too, who's new to the community that's been putting in a lot of hours too. He streams about the same time I do at night, and he's been testing out different things, trying out different builds, and trying to figure out his place within the community. So he's been putting in some effort as well. So shout outs to Pinching Loaf. And then let's see here. You've got Jay Blunders, who's one of the newer guys.
Jay's been around the block actually. He's been here for a while. He wasn't consistent on the content side, but he's been consistent on the gameplay side.
Yeah. Jay Blunders has been here, and then you've also got Jay the Product too, who's also part of the community that's been doing really, really good things. So there's a lot of talent in the community. I just feel like that because the community is so small, it's not really going to start to shine through until we have more players within the community. Then we'll get to see where everybody stacks up overall in the tournaments.
That's when I'll have my life intact, and then no one will compete. I'll just take it all.
So you're planning on smashing everybody, huh, Quiet?
With 1.0, you'll notice a different Quiet.
Shots fired.
I'll say sounds like the gauntlet got thrown down. All right.
I don't know
Launch day. Launch day. That's when I'm putting the gauntlet down and I'm making hardcore SSF mine.
when you said the gauntlet's been put down, cynical, I couldn't help but think of Carrie Ells in the movie Robin Hood Men in Tights. Whenever the guy goes, "I challenge you to a duel," and he slaps him with a little leather glove, and he goes, "I accept it." He grabs the gauntlet and smacks him with the iron gauntlet in the face.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm picturing that being quiet for me. I accept your challenge, Black.
I mean, gloves are gauntlets after all.
It's
Oh
true.
yeah, speaking of gloves, people get that reveal tomorrow. Remember, guys,
Again.
6 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time, you'll get to see Quiet for Me's new item that's coming to the game. Now, it is coming out in this next patch, correct?
Correct, confirmed it today with the devs.
Yes. All right,
Excellent.
so that's going to be one of the 25 new items, or did they say now it's 26 items?
They said 25 plus to be technical.
Oh, okay.
That's true. He's not
They
wrong.
left a little window for error on that. That's awesome. I am very happy about that. Do you have any other questions you want to ask, Cynical, off the top of your head?
Yeah, so actually, this is a question that I also asked Heavy, who's another one of this. Is there a skill in the game that you wish was good enough that just isn't quite there yet?
See Infernal Shade.
Good God.
I actually, I've been messing with Infernal Shade recently, and
Oh, don't tell him that.
Good,
oh no.
I'm getting some good results.
Wait a minute, what are you doing with it though?
I'll have to come check out my stream sometime.
Okay. Oh, that's right. We did that the other day in your stream. Oh, all right. So, what time do you start tomorrow? In the morning? What time? My time?
I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep you up all night, keep you on edge.
No, don't do that to me, man. I already get sleep deprivation as enough as it is.
Please torment him more. Actually, no, I'm enjoying this.
I'll tell you at the end of the stream. How's that?
You're gonna make me wait 15 minutes. That's a dick move.
I love it.
But to let you know, Cynical, to answer your question, actually a skill that I always think I would love to see more utilized out of it is actually Assemble Abomination. It's such an interesting skill to me, and I've seen a lot of powerful builds with it, but I haven't seen like enough new builds with it and different concepts thrown around with it. So I'd like to see more done with a Assemble Abomination. So that'd probably be the one I'd probably put my stuff in on.
That would be absolutely interesting to see the changes. I think didn't they on one of the dev streams also announce that they are going to change the art design for Abomination too?
Yeah,
the artwork?
because they're changing stuff with Necro. They said so they have to change the Assemble Abomination with the art because the art on the minion is dependent on what type of minions it sucks up. So there's possibly like something like 7 different variants of it. So
Dang, that's going to be interesting to see how it comes out then. I'm looking forward to that now. All right, so which skill is it that you hate the most since he asked you which one you like the best?
Oh. Sorry, Lizard. Vengeance.
What's wrong with Vengeance?
It is the most boring shit to look at in the world.
So it goes to aesthetics for you then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a simple little dink. And like it's every time I look at it, I see big damage numbers, but I'm just like, the animation does not represent the fucking skill.
Yeah, I think they should change it with a racing strike. Because a racing strike's animation looks really, really good. I like
but
the way
racing
the
strike
racing
is pretty
strike
good too.
True.
Yeah. So, what are your plans for this week coming up after the reveal and everything? Do you have anything extra additional planned for this week, or is this going to be one of the weeks where you're working on that build with the Infernal Shade?
I've been working on a Paladin Sentinel stationary warpath build recently, because my Infernal Shade build is reserved for Friday only sponsor streams right now. So I'll do that again Friday. So yeah, it's just keeping my head on straight. I got so much to do and so much I can't say. So
now on the sponsored stream on Fridays, do they start at the same time you normally start at on those days?
No, I always do like the last 2 hours of my stream because it's only 2 hours, right? So I always end it on the sponsored, so I can do my sponsored. I can call it quits, tell everybody have a nice day, and then kick it off to someone in the community.
Okay. You were about to say something cynical?
So you were mentioning you were working on like a stationary warpath, as a warpath aficionado. I must say I am very excited for the warpath. Uh, Giant Splitter looks amazing. I cannot wait that note within this.
Yeah, there is a lot of intriguities within the new Warpath, I can definitely say.
Can't
Excellent.
elaborate any further on that?
I'll just say no.
Okay.
All right, we don't want you to do anything you're not supposed to, so
Exactly.
we'll leave it at that. That's been one of our whole focuses with having a CT like yourself on here is make sure we don't push the envelope too far with things.
Yeah, I no joke. I have a notepad of stuff that is public information to keep myself in check.
You know what? That's actually a really good idea.
That's awesome. So with all the changes getting ready to come, the new patch is getting ready to come out not too long from now. Um, is there anything in particular that you know you're going to be getting to test? Not as far as like for the future of the game, but I'm saying that when the patch drops, things that will be out for all players. Is there anything in particular that you're looking at being able to play with in the future besides your item? Because I know you're going to play with your new item once it comes out.
That's if I can get it.
Is it really going to be that hard to acquire? You're starting to worry me now.
I
I'm
mean,
just starting to get worried.
one of the biggest discussions that I'll be going more in depth to tomorrow is rarity versus power. You're only allowed power gains higher than the normal if the rarity to matches.
Oh god. This is probably going to be one of those things where it's like locked behind Shade of Orbis at like 500 corruption or some crap. I can already feel it. I'm going to have to make a special build just to farm this one item, and it's not even going to go for that build. It's going to go for a different build altogether.
Actually, okay, I'll give you guys one little teaser. My item could be used on every single character in every single build.
Oh.
Oh. Oh, okay.
My
Okay.
head just went like this. I just went gadoosh. Like as soon as you made that statement, my head went.
Okay.
Like, just picture a nuclear bomb going off in my brain right there.
I told you. I told you. Headhunter levels of chase.
Oh God, you just shit all over us.
All
My
right.
head just exploded. That's going to be interesting to see now. So
Oh
remember,
yeah.
guys, you can tune in tomorrow morning at 6 Central Standard Time to catch Quietforme stream. And speaking of which, Cynical, you're a brand ambassador for Built Bar. Why don't you tell everybody about the Built Bar brand and let everybody know what flavors are out right now?
So actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because I just got an email from them that I want to read because it will be of good importance. Interested in acquiring some Built Bars. So Built Bar is a brand. They do protein bars. They also do like drink mixes and stuff like that. If you're looking to get a nice pickup of energy, but trying to stay health conscious with a diet or things like that, go check out the website. Use code SQUID at checkout, save you 10%. Right now, biggest sale ever in Built Bar history going on at BuiltBar.com. All boxes of Built Bars are currently $29.99 on the website. So Grim, you looked into the pricing on these. I said they were
Yeah.
$29.99.
Yes.
How many bars you get?
You get 18 bars in a box.
All right, because I wanna put you on the spot here with this
Yes.
because yes, literally my recliner, I always keep a bar of chocolate peanut butter Nature Valley.
Ooh, nice.
And these are pretty cost effective for a protein bar and pretty filling. So, what am I going to get out of Built Bar that this can't give me?
So Built Bar is I don't know the nutrition stats on the Nature Valley. I'll go ahead and let you. All the Built Bars have like 18 grams of protein in them. They're also all made with dark chocolate, so they do give you that sweet, like sort of candy barish satisfaction, but without it being like loaded with sugars and stuff like that. They also come in a ton of flavors. There are currently 13 flavors available for the $29.99 box, featuring the mint brownie, which you guys have watched the podcast before. You guys know I love the mint brownie one. It's my favorite one. I'm probably going to buy a box when I get off. Also, special edition flavor, grasshopper cookie, thin mint Girl Scout cookies, whatever you want to call them. Those are part of the $29.99 box sale right now.
All right,
Holy
they're
crap.
actually outperforming Nature Valley because there's only 10 grams of protein at 190. But I will say it is a layer of dark chocolate only on one side though, so I might
Gotcha.
have to look into it.
Yeah. They also, if you like the peanut butter stuff, they have a peanut butter brownie flavor. It's real good. I've had it. Quite delicious. Also part of the $29.99 box
I
sale.
won't lie. You got me on the Thin Mints.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, use code SQUID, just squid at checkout, saves you 10%.
Yeah, I'll get the link off you after.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, and with that, that's going to do it for us for this week of Last Epoch. We'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. Quietforme, thank you so much for being our guest. It has been an absolute pleasure and joy to have you on here. Thank you for giving us a little bit of spoilers ahead about what's coming up on your stream. I'm definitely going to be up all night now, and I don't know if I have enough of these still left to keep me awake, but if I have to, I'm going to probably make half a gallon of coffee and just down that to stay up, because now I have got to come and watch your stream now for the whole entire duration and check that out.
I
From all of,
appreciate being on here. You guys are absolutely excellent. It's actually what's nice to get to talk candidly for once with some community members on someone else's podcast. So
Right?
I appreciate you guys having me on. So I appreciate you, Squid. I appreciate you, Grim. It's really nice to have a community podcast. It's just nice to listen to. So you guys keep up the great work. I definitely endorse what you guys do.
Appreciate that.
well, we appreciate it, man. But thank you so much, Quietforme, and from all of us here at Last Epoch. Just to let you guys know, coming up on this Saturday is going to be my charity stream for Help for Heroes. They are a United Kingdom based organization, and what they do is as soon as their veterans are discharged from the military and they need medical care and everything, they take care of them and their family for life. So it will be starting at noon on Saturday. It's only going to be a 6-hour stream this time. Last time I did a charity stream, we did it for Wounded Warrior Project. We raised over $225 for Wounded Warrior Project. I just sent them money the other day for the donation bits. Any subs that you guys do, that goes to charity on my channel. That does not go to me. That does not stay with me. I don't use it for anything. It goes straight to the charities. So on the 21st, remember at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, I'll be doing the charity stream that day. Hope to catch you guys there for that. Cynical, do you have anything else you want to add before we go?
No, because I'm still off of streams this week. I'm back next week.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Y'all be good.